Welcome back to Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel. We are out here in the Finnish woodlands, enjoying this weekend, doing a bit of a winter tarp camping overnight trip. The goal is simply to just do a mental reload, trying to find a good spot for the top and just enjoy ourselves this weekend. So welcome along. Let's see if we can find a good place to camp. I've tried to gain a bit of elevation to get a better look around. This is a new area for me. Once again, by gaining some elevation, I can see better if there are any promising spots for the camp, but also we get a bit more light on this kind of rocky hilltops and so forth. A problem with tarp camping is that because tarp is so versatile shelter, it's actually rather easy to get a bit of a decision paralysis. Once you've done tarp camping enough, you see opportunities everywhere. And at least for myself, it's very easy to start to trying to track down the absolute best place to set up the tarp. But in reality, there's of course no such thing, but there's plenty of good spots all around. I kept coming back to this. Between these trees, we are quite high up, but actually the highest peak of this hill is over there, so we are not completely exposed. And there's a bit of a rock wall there, good rocks over there where I can actually sit down and cook. And all in all, there's very slight depression just over here, some trees all over. So it is relatively open, yet not so open that if it starts to, I don't know, pick up the wind or anything else, then I'm not completely exposed. So yeah, good compromise, maybe that's what I'm trying to say. But let's get going and see what I can come up with. All right, this is the final product. Of course, showing the actual angles of the shelter is a bit difficult on camera, but anyway, the idea is that this end goes all the way to the ground. I packed some snow over the stakes. Didn't have to use snow anchors or anything today, so fairly straightforward setup. Rokka is of course tangled up as always. Figuring out the leash and trees is always a difficult job for dogs. Some of you might have noticed that I have the top set up upside down, and that's not actually a mistake. That's how I tend to set up the top, because it is just as waterproof both ways, so it doesn't really matter in that sense. And I have the ridgeline loops here, which I can use to hang my light from. And that's especially convenient, of course, if I would have a shelter set up where I don't have an actual ridgeline up here. And having the lantern down here also means that I don't have to use as bright settings as I would have to use if I would hang it up here to get the same benefit. So that of course conserves the very small battery that this thing has. So that's another benefit for sure. Whenever I am winter camping with a floorless shelter, I want to make sure that my down sleeping bags are not touching the snow at any point. So that's why I have the bivvy bag, of course, with me. I try to put some effort to the whole setup phase of things, so I don't rush it and actually get my stuff wet. I have actually 3 sleeping pads with me this time. Just basic Thermarest, Ridge Rest, I think it is. And then my winter sleeping pad. I've noticed that even though this expert pad is rated for winter and it has rather good R value, it still does leak some body heat to the snow, to the ground. So that's why double sleeping pads are, I think, now a smart thing to do during winters. And then I have a third one. This is actually one of my first sleeping pads, if you could even call it. This is the Bundeswehr pad that also acts as a kind of a stiffener or back plate in their rucksacks. And this is for sitting, for kneeling on, and then during the night I'm planning on putting this out next to me, so maybe Rokka wants to sleep on top of this. We'll see. I've done that a couple of times. It has never worked. The dog sleeps where the dog wants, but you know, since I have it, might as well lay it out for him during the night. The sleeping bag is there, getting some of its loft back after being compressed, and in that sense the shelter and sleep system are all set up. I will still tidy up the camp area a bit, and then I think we could have maybe some afternoon coffee. You're not gonna believe this, but I truly forgot that I have a camping chair with me. I kept looking at good places where I can set up the sitting pad and, you know, sit there and cook and whatnot, but I packed the day before yesterday and I had completely forgotten that I had the space, so I threw the camping chair in there. Sometimes I surprise myself, I guess. I'm on a bit of a slope here, but let's see if I can make this work. Not too bad. Not too bad. I have a very limited amount of water with me, so it makes sense to scoop up some snow every time I'm boiling something. Just have to be careful that I don't scoop up any animal poop. Honestly, people can say whatever they want about these Trangias, but the fact is, it just works. Let's have a bit of a coffee and chat, shall we? I just put on my only extra layer, and I figured it's as good time as any to address the #1 talking point and topic in the world, and that is of course the weather. Believe it or not, just week and a half ago it was -20 around this area, and then now it's Saturday. This week's Monday and Tuesday it actually was around +2, +3 degrees and raining. That melted all the snow from the trees. Before that, so last week, it was this very beautiful, picturesque winter wonderland basically everywhere. And 2 days of above zero for some reason and rain. Now we're in this situation. We are coming towards the end of January, believe it or not, although it does look like end of maybe March or April. There is actually less snow here than I thought. As you saw, I don't have skis, but instead I have snowshoes with me this time. And the reason is that yesterday we actually went for a bit of a test run with Rokka. I had the pulk behind me, skis, and Rokka was pulling. But unfortunately, even though we are now couple of degrees below zero, the snow is still too soft and the dog falls through it in many places. So that kind of means that I'm losing the main advantages of skis. Number one being that we can of course go faster with skis than just walking. Number two being that the dog can also pull me a bit. But yesterday I clearly had to go slower, so at the pace of the dog, and the dog was really struggling a lot, I figured that it's no point in to take the skis, and instead I can just take the snowshoes, which I'm not using as much as I would like to anyway. Those snowshoes are absolutely great, but I tend to gravitate towards the skis most of the time. With snowshoes, it's of course walking pace that we are traveling. I can drag the pulk or ahkio just fine, and we can go at the pace that the dog feels comfortable going. Let's go and check out what's up there. I have to say that these snowshoes have incredible grip. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's some serious hardware underneath each snowshoe. You can see how his paws really splay out like that. But even so, he still easily falls through the snow every now and then, dropping down 20 centimeters at least. This must be the highest spot of this hill. Not much of a view. All right, at this point, you all know the drill. Tactical food pack, greasy pork jerky. No need to do anything new just for the sake of it. I know that this combination is easy, tasty, and it just works. If you want to get some tactical food pack or beef jerky for yourself, check out the links and discount codes in the description. If you do purchase some, it helps the channel, but if not, I don't mind. Not a promising start. Cheers and happy 24 for everyone. Ooh, that's cold. By the way, when I was waiting for the water to boil, I'm pretty sure that I heard a deer barking. Just once. But I don't think it could have been anything else. So we'll see. We are set up right on their main highway, so maybe we will get some visitors. Like we did last time when I was doing a top camping video with this particular top. We are losing daylight fast, so I actually had to turn on the lantern already just for this shot. But this is the setup for tonight. There's a slight breeze coming through that direction, so I actually lifted the pulk up there and blocked the underside with snow and placed the Bundeswehr mattress here. Let's see if Rokka finds it tonight or not. My guess is that he does not. But anyway, I think we are going to call it for tonight. I'm going to probably just crawl halfway inside the sleeping bag and just enjoy the quietness. Good morning, folks. The wind really did start to pick up during the night and got quite bad. I had to drop down this whole end of my shelter. Basically, the wind comes from the worst possible direction, where I have the least coverage from the environment. And not only that, but I actually woke up 3 times during the night, around midnight, around 1 o'clock, and then 1:30 to fix the shelter. The wind gusts were so powerful that they just blew my shelter out of the snow. So all the stakes and everything just blew out. And when I woke up the 3rd time to fix it, I basically just piled in on top all of my gear as well as snow. And that seemed to do the trick. But you may have noticed that everything looks to be quite wet. And that is because it is 0 degrees, or maybe -1 according to this, but definitely feels like 0. Wind still coming in. Snow is wet and heavy. I think we can start to make some breakfast underneath the shelter. It's still definitely windy, but I don't think I've felt those super strong gusts that we had during the night. This time I will take my usual protein oatmeal, which I of course have with me, and just throw it in this rice pudding and berries. This is the type of stuff that I never tend to eat, but these kind of puddings or actually a breakfast too do come as part of certain tactical food packets. So might as well combine it with my own breakfast. Still plenty of water from yesterday. I boiled actually enough to fill this whole thing, so I hope that it's still warm enough to make me this breakfast, because I'm of course going to use most of it for my morning coffee. Quite nice actually. A bit cold, but not too bad. 450 calories in this rice pudding. I don't remember how much is in my own breakfast. 200? Something like that. So in total, quite a nice combination. Calorie-wise as well. I was packing some things to the duffel bag already, and I just saw one roe deer walking maybe 200 meters away from us, the other direction. So they are definitely around here. Ooh, hot. And now, some of you, especially the majority of you who are not Finns, might think that this whole weather situation that we have going on right now is a bit weird. Not like maybe what you might picture in your head when you think about Finnish weather. I agree completely. And you might also think around 0 degrees, that's not too bad. Easy camping weather. But no, that's actually the complete opposite. I would take dry minus 20 degrees Celsius every time over this 0 plus 1 degrees wet and windy. In fact, this is one of the worst possible conditions that you can be in, because there are actually many challenges with this type of weather, and one of them being just that the fact that this doesn't look too bad. It doesn't seem too bad when it's not that cold, maybe. But in reality, everything gets wet and it is really hard to dry anything as well. Nothing crazy, but when's the last time you had to fix your shelter in the middle of the night when the wind blew it up? I had to do that 3 times. Remember yesterday when I said that I don't really need snow anchors or anything? Yeah, that might have been true or not. I don't know. It's a very difficult spot to put any proper snow anchors anyway, because that end of the top is on top of this rock. So very likely that I couldn't have made any difference yesterday when setting up the top. But enough waffling. Let's enjoy the coffee and then slowly start to break his camp and snowshoe around. Because today, more than yesterday, snowshoes are absolutely required. The snow doesn't carry my weight at all. So. We are off. As you can see, the dog really struggles in the snow right now. Even with snowshoes, I do come down maybe 5-10 centimeters in snow. Doesn't always have to be like fresh powdery snow where you would use snowshoes. This is just as relevant type of situation. Thanks once again, everyone, joining us on this little overnight adventure. I think this little guy is still quite full of energy. Or then it just looks like that because there's so much snow and he has to jump around all the time. You've been watching Taival Outdoors. My name is Joel. This little rascal is Rokka, and we will be seeing you all in the next one. Bye.